Hello lovely people, today I'm going to show you how to make a raindrop garland out of paper and thread. Now you may be asking me, Beth, why are raindrops made of graph paper? Graph paper is not the color of raindrops. My reply to you is, turns out I don't have any blue cardstock. So I made my demo out of graph paper, and my first step is going to be getting blue paper that's two-sided from what I can find around my house. It's a couple of different ways I'm going to do that. I'm going to get white cardstock and color it blue on two sides. I know, genius. And I'm going to rip pages from magazines that are predominantly blue. I'm going to glue them to each other, and then voila, blue-sided, double-sided paper. Now this is easiest and much faster if you have 5 sheets of blue cardstock or blue construction paper. If you do that, you can just stack all 5 sheets of paper together, trace on your raindrops, and cut them out at once, and it goes much faster. But I'm going to go the long route. So I am making a garland. I made one that had 4 drops, and I didn't really measure them, I just made them slightly bigger than each other. And now, if you've watched any of these, you might have realized I like to be precise in things. So I wanted my raindrops to look nice, so my strategy was to just use a compass. I used a compass, I made a circle, I took a pencil, and I drew the point on it. And that way I knew that the bottom round part of my raindrop was actually very nice and round. So then I just made my circle a little bit smaller and did another one, repeat, until I had 4 raindrops to use as templates that go down in size. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I labeled them so I could help myself keep track. Now, what I did just for my demo one is stack 5 sheets of paper, trace each raindrop, and cut out each raindrop with the paper stacked. I'm going to be a little more inventive, like I said, because I don't have any blue cardstock. So I'm scrounging around. I found some bits of picture of water, glued them front and back, and managed to cut out 2 sizes of raindrop. Doesn't matter, all you really need is 5 double-sided raindrops of each size. So this is my A size, I only have 1. Instead of making 2 A size, I made an A and a B, so there will be some consistency between my drops. So I am going to get back to gluing and coloring. You can also cut your raindrops out first and then color them, instead of coloring paper then cutting out raindrops. And if you have kids with you, this is a great step that they can help with. They can help color in your raindrops for you. So I'm going to pause this and get to gluing. Okay, I have finished my gluing. I got pretty much all of the images I'm using from one story on the Arctic. That's why it's got polar bears. Now if I wanted to, I could just stack these on top of each other, trace 1 raindrop and cut them all out, but I like to have a little more control than that, so I've been doing what in quilting is called fussy cutting. And that's when you think, oh, well, all of this is nice, but I would really prefer just this bit. And that's what I did here, because I didn't actually want polar bear raindrops. And now this doesn't look like I have very much, but you can actually put your raindrops pretty close together when you're cutting them out and get a surprising amount. The other thing I like to do is make as little work as possible for myself. So I'm going to line up the edge of my template with the edge of the picture, and that gives me a nice straight place to cut. I'm going to trace it You can do it in pen if you would like. I'm going to do it in pencil. That way, if I make a mistake, I don't have a big line through something I want to use as a raindrop. And you will be surprised just how many, if you're careful, you can squeeze in to the same area. I'm going to finish cutting out my raindrops, and then I will show you what comes next. Okay, so now I have 5 of each size of raindrop. I'm going to stack them on top of each other, line them up as best I can. Now, my tracing, it turns out, was not super consistent. These things happen, but I'm really mostly concerned about the points lining up. There. And when I'm done, I'm going to take a paper clip, I'm going to put it on the edge, and this is going to hold them all together. And I'm going to go on to my next. And what I'm going to do after this is I'm going to sew them together. I'm going to use a sewing machine because I'm lucky enough to have one. If you don't have a sewing machine though, you can totally hand sew this. It'll just take longer, but we all have tons of time at the moment. I love paper clips. I think they are one of mankind's finer inventions. Okay. Now I don't want to sew this blind, so I'm going to make myself a guideline. I'm going to get a ruler or a straight edge, and I am going to put a careful line down the very middle of my raindrop. And I can really use anything that is straight. It doesn't have to be a ruler, just something that will allow me to draw a straight line. And this is going to guide me while I am stitching. So I shall return with my sewing machine. Here is my lovely sewing machine. I'm going to show you how to connect all of the raindrops together. I'm going to start with the biggest, and I'm going to start at the bottom. I'm going to get it, and I'm going to line up the pencil line I made with the needle. And then when I have it where I want it, I'm going to lower the foot. Now I have my machine set on a very high, a very long and loose stitch. And I'm going to do this slowly because it's going through several layers. And now when I get to the end of my raindrop, I'm just going to let out the thread some. Until I have the space I like between my raindrops. Then without breaking the thread or cutting it, I'm putting in the next one. Making sure my hands are guiding on either side of the needle, not towards the needle. Next raindrop. Once I have it positioned in, I'm removing the paper clip on the smaller ones because, oh dear, can you see? There we go. So that it does not get in my way, and I'm just holding it firm. And then once it's in, then I can sew it the rest of the way. Now for my last one. Now I'm going to let out some extra, where's my phone? For one I can hang it, and I'm going to clip my thread. Okay, now I have all of my raindrops attached to each other. Now if you do not have access to a sewing machine, you can also just do this with a needle and thread. You can stack your raindrops, paper clip them, draw your guideline, and you're also going to want to start from the bottom, and it's just going to be a little more effort, which I would recommend getting a thimble for to help you push through. I am using a leather needle because that is easier to punch. And it's just going to take a little longer, but you can still, stitch up, have some thread, stitch the next one all the way up. Once you have your raindrops connected, whichever way you do it, and if you do it with a sewing machine, I recommend when you're done tying these two threads to each other so it doesn't unravel. And same with the top. We are now going to sort of fluff out our raindrops. And I'm going to fold out all of the edges of all of the bits. Until I have a more 3D looking raindrop. And then I'm going to hang this in my window, and because I actually love the rain, I can pretend like every day is a rainy day. I especially love spring rain. I'm going a little slower. I'm making sure that I'm not peeling apart the bits that I glued together. So I'm still getting blue on both sides. And they're all sort of spaced out. I have my finished raindrop garland for all my raindrops. And if you make 2 or 3 more of those and hang them next to each other, it makes a really nice little effect, like it's raining. And if you also have a bunch of blue paper, you can make your raindrops much bigger. You can start the biggest here and then go up and have bigger rain. But I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you have some lovely spring showers, and I hope you remember that April showers bring May flowers. And here's a joke for you. Then what do May flowers bring? Pilgrims. I've known that joke since I was 7 and loved it that long too. If you make this craft, take a picture and tag the library in it, because we would love to see what you are all up to. And hopefully we'll be crafting in person again soon. Bye.